Friends, today is Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. We're going to dig into some of the rituals on the Day of Atonement today, which is actually begins with a lottery. How interesting is that? Leviticus 16, 6 and 7, and 15 and 17. So let's listen for the day of the Lord, the word of the Lord for this day. Aaron shall offer the bull as a purification offering for himself, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house. That's all of his family, relatives. He shall take the 2 goats and set them before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. He shall slaughter the goat of the purification offering that is for the people, and bring its blood inside the curtain, and do with its blood as he did with the blood of the bull, sprinkling it upon the cover and before the cover. What's that about? Well, it's explained in verse 16. Thus, Aaron shall make atonement for the sanctuary. Because of the uncleanness of the Israelites and because of their transgressions and sins, he shall do this for the tent of meeting, which remains with them in the midst of their uncleanliness. No one shall be in the tent of meeting from the time he enters to make atonement in the sanctuary until he comes out and has made atonement for himself and for his house and all the assembly of Israel. So on the Day of Atonement, the high priest got to go into the Holy of Holies. But because in the regular sacrifices and the daily worship services, people had come up into the areas outside this area, they had contaminated them. They had brought their uncleanness, their brokenness, very close to the holy, perfect presence of God. And so in this first part of the Day of Atonement, there is a cleansing ceremony that happens where the actual furniture and elements that are involved in the sacrifices are all cleansed by this offering of a bull. And then we notice there's a lottery to select these 2 goats. The lottery is described a little bit earlier. I've kind of telescope this down a little bit. And one of the goats is used in a particular way and not the other one. So we're going to get into this as the week goes on. But this process of cleansing the sanctuary is fascinating because it emphasizes that sin, both individual and collective, can pollute our worship. It can bring judgment. Worship is an interesting moment, right? We have to come in a humble frame of mind, because otherwise, if we bring our anger and our aggression and all of our the negative parts of the dark side of our personalities, and we're not just bringing those honestly in to be cleansed and redone, but we're bringing that in a way that's aggressive, we are making unholy an area that's meant to be holy. And in Aaron's case, in the case of the people of God, the freedom and the joy of worship turns into a fearful and deadly thing. Human evil encounters divine holiness. And we see in chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, that Aaron's 2 eldest sons decide to do their own type of worship. This is an echo of what happened with the worship of the golden calf at the Mountain of Revelation. That created this whole situation where Leviticus came into play because they couldn't go into the tent of meeting, as broken as they were, bring that brokenness inside. And so they went off theme of the way they should be worshiping God and began to introduce another type of worship with fire, and they were consumed. Our modern and really wonderful sense of God's love should not diminish our sense of God's holiness and the judgments that comes with certain kinds of human behavior. Let's take a moment and pray. The fear of the Lord is the beginning. It's not the end of wisdom, but it is the beginning. There is no salvation without sacrifice and no atonement without blood. Let us take seriously the cost of experiencing your grace and mercy. We ask this in your Son's great name. Amen.